Hey folks, how's it going? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, and today we're checking out the latest CT Toys Bootleg action figure with this knockoff Mafex blue suited Batman. We recently looked at the black suited variant Mafex Batman from CT Toys and I thought it was excellent. Thought it was probably the best CT Toys replica so far, and so I'm really hyped for this blue suited version with the additional Bruce Wayne head sculpt. Let's jump right into the video, check out the good, the bad, and compare it to the legitimate Mafex figure. So straight off the bat, I'm really impressed with this release, as for the first time ever, CT Toys has packaged the box inside a more firm cardboard box, meaning that this packaging is actually in really good condition. I don't have any bumps, any dents, which is a first from AliExpress. Normally all these knockoffs come battered and torn, but this is actually in really good condition, so really happy to see CT Toys making that change this time around. I hope it continues and this isn't just a one-off, but this looks like the usual sort of packaging from CT Toys. It is smaller in size compared to the black suited Batman Mafex knockoff from them, but of course we got the gargoyle base with the black Batman figure similar to the Mafex release. With the blue Batman we don't get that gargoyle base, but we do get an additional Bruce Wayne head sculpt that we don't see through the display at the moment, but we do see it in the back of the packaging. Got some really cool figure shots here. Again, they've called it Batman Hush, I guess to try and swerve copyright laws. I think that's ridiculous. There's no way that's holding up in court. Just call it Batman. It is obvious who it is, but okay, call it Batman if you want. Number 105 Hush. Again, pictures of the actual Mafex figure. This isn't the CT Toys version, but we'll see what that looks like shortly. And a bunch of writing down at the bottom. Got the bottom of the box. We get the side of the box. Really cool figure shots all over the packaging here. We get the other side and the front. Batman Hush. It looks a bit dodgy the way he's packaged in there, but hopefully he'll look alright once we pose him around a wee bit. We get the top of the packaging here, but let's get him out of the box. Actually, before we do that, let's pull in the actual packaging from Mafex here. You can see there is some slight differences in size. The blues are a bit different. Of course, this is actually Batman and not Batman. Get some additional logos and things at the bottom. Same image actually on the side of the packaging there. On the other side, it holds up as well. And then the back of the box is pretty similar. So similar images, but different style and shape and size. So first of all, I do want to point out that we do get a flight stand with our CT Toys Bootleg, which I always think is a really welcome addition. Flight stands aren't exactly cheap, and so to get one included with your £20 bootleg I think is really great. Don't really need to use it right now, but I'm glad to have it as a backup for when the time comes, so really happy to get these flight stands with your cheap AliExpress knockoffs. We then get these interchangeable hands, and we did see all these recently with the black suited CT Toys Batman figure. Don't really feel the need to rehash that in this video, but we get all those hands in this blue variant. To quickly go through it, you get the grappling hook hands, the Batarang holding hands, loose hands, wide open hands, Batarang holding hands, clobbering time fisted hands, and then two of each size of Batarang. Get these larger Batarangs at the top, and then these smaller Batarangs at the bottom here. So cool interchangeable parts and accessories with the CT Toys ripoff that match all the original figure here. And then we get these grappling hook accessories, this longer line with the hook at the end here, and that will just port into the grappling hook gun that we've seen there. And then we get this grappling hook top that is a shorter line as well. Again, it does port into that hand. Paint looks good, sculpt looks good, but let's get to the real deal. What I was most excited for with our blue suited CT Toys Batman figure was this Bruce Wayne head sculpt. Again, with the black suited Batman, we got the gargoyle base, which CT Toys replicated really well. I do wish we got that base with this blue suited variant. CT Toys have given us additional pieces with their knockoffs in the past, and so I think it is a wee bit of a miss that they didn't include that with this figure here. I mean, why not? But they've kept it faithful to the original figure and just given us this Bruce Wayne head sculpt instead, and I think they've done a pretty good job here. It does look like there's some paint scuffs on his face. There is some dark paint just kind of on that cheek area and the forehead, but it doesn't look too bad from afar. I think the sculpt's really good. The hair looks decent. I seen on other copies it looked like the hair was just one tone of black, but getting it here in the ring light, you can see there is some blue shading through the hair here. I think the face is good, the sculpt's there, but it doesn't quite capture Bruce Wayne the same way the original head sculpt did. And speaking of, here we have the original Mafex Bruce Wayne head sculpt on the left here. Yeah, it is better. The Mafex, of course, does look better than the CT Toys version here, but honestly, for a £20 knockoff, it isn't bad at all. I think they have nailed the sculpt, but there's a lot more paint and finesse going on in this Mafex version that CT Toys just doesn't capture as well. But I'm happy with this. For your CT Toys bootleg, this is a Bruce Wayne sculpt, a good Bruce Wayne sculpt. And it isn't too far off the Mafex, but I think you can see you've got your £120 figure here on the left and your £20 bootleg here on the right. I'm pretty happy with that. I do want to do a head swap later and see if that Bruce Wayne sculpt goes onto the black suited version. I'm sure it will. But here is our new blue suited angry head sculpt for Batman, and you can see it is just a straight up repaint from CT Toys in the past, similar to what they've done with Wolverine when they gave us the Tiger Stripe Wolverine and then the brown suit re-release. Just a straight up repaint, and I'm happy with that. For £20 you're getting all your versions of Batman from CT Toys, ripping off Mafex to a really good level. Again, your Mafex figures costing £120, and these CT Toys bootlegs are £100 less, costing around 20. I think these both look pretty good. To compare it to the official version, I've got the Angry sculpt ported onto the figure at the moment, and again you can see the Mafex is a lot better, but again you're paying £100 more for that quality, and so I definitely think the CT Toys so far is worth that £20. But let's check out the actual figure. So far so good. I really like everything going on here. It feels very similar to the black suited variant. If you already have your hands on that black suit CT Toys Mafex Batman figure, then you'll know exactly what to expect with this figure right here. If you don't already have that black suit Batman, well, it is a really good knockoff, and this blue one doesn't seem far off at all. It feels very good for a rip-off figure. You know, it doesn't feel as good as a Mafex. Does it feel as good as a Marvel Legends? I don't know, it definitely feels different. It feels premium enough for an AliExpress knockoff figure. I am always impressed with, I say always, I've definitely not been as impressed with the likes of the Gambit knockoff CT Toys figure. It was very gummy, it didn't feel as good as this right here. But all these joints are stiff enough to hold a pose, they move really nicely. I'd say the top of the legs here feel quite loose, but not loose enough that it won't hold a pose, just more loose than other joints on the figure. The torso definitely feels quite stiff, so maybe worth loosening that up a wee bit. See the ab moves with that torso with how stiff it actually is, but definitely not a big deal at all. You've got the toe articulation. I think the blue looks really nice, but I will say the blue isn't as nice as the legitimate Mafex figure, and we can compare that later on. But just initial reactions out of the box here, I think this feels great. The plastic feels good, it moves well. You can see with Batman they've used the gold pins. With the CT Toys figures you always see those pins, and I'm kind of glad they went for the gold. I don't know, maybe with the blue the silver would work a wee bit better, especially with the grey. I didn't mind it with the black suited version though, so I don't know why it does stand out a wee bit more on this blue suited version. You can see there the gold in the gold in the pins on the black suited Batman. Maybe the silver would work better with the grey. That surely would kind of add up, right? But you've got the gold in the utility belt as well, and that's sculpted really nicely all the way around the figure. The sculpt's excellent. I mean, they really capture the original so well, apart from the likes of the pins showing. But this feels good. Again, the legs at that top of the thigh area is probably my main concern, but yeah, everything's really good. Checking out the head sculpt here, I think that's a good expression for Batman, your neutral expression head sculpt there is pretty spot on. Again, to compare it to the official Mafex here, you can see the blues are slightly different. Again, the Mafex is a lot more finessed. I think the eyes look a bit smaller in the Mafex, which kind of add to that angry expression. The mouth area definitely looks a lot better when it comes to the paint. But not bad at all. Again, this costs £100 more, so checking out the CT Toys, I really don't have any complaints here. The cape feels really good. I think the quality in the fabric here is really nice. Again, it's very similar to the black suited Batman, but again, if you don't have that black suited Batman, this is a quality cloth cape. For a £20 AliExpress bootleg, maybe I'm still living in the past, but I just wouldn't expect this quality. I'd think it would feel a lot cheaper. The bendy wire in it, I would expect not to be as good as this. This is posable. Again, it holds the pose. You can maneuver it really well. And so I'm really happy with the overall quality of these CT Toys ripoffs here. The bat logo looks excellent here, even the neck area. I think on the black suited version, I thought the neck area was maybe... Yeah, you can see where that hood meets the chest there. It is just a wee bit jagged. Doesn't seem to be the case on this blue suited version, so that's a positive for sure. I honestly think the only thing is really the looseness on the top of the thigh there, but he's still going to hold a pose. You get the drop down leg here. Just give him a wee bit of a pose. Animated series style on that DVD box art. I'm happy with that. For just messing around with him for a couple seconds, you know. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this figure. It's £20. I'm not worried about if I break him. When I'm posing a £100 Mafex, you know, it gets a wee bit dicey sometimes with some of the poses you're going for. But you don't feel as bad with a CT Toys to really just kind of move this guy around, and so I'm really happy with this so far. Let's compare him to some of the other figures lying around in the collection. First off, we have to compare this CT Toys to the original, the legitimate Mafex figure standing here on the left. And the first thing that hits my eye is the yellow on these utility belts. The CT Toys definitely has a more sort of orange tint to the yellow, and this Mafex version has a brighter yellow to it. I think with all of these CT Toys bootlegs figures, you know, they aren't really hitting the same level as the original, but they're definitely not doing a bad job at replicating those original Mafex figures. I mean, this for the price point is fantastic. I believe the black Mafex Batman figure sold for around 120, and I think a couple times in this video I've said the blue version has. I think the blue version is slightly cheaper because it doesn't have the gargoyle base, but it's definitely around that £100 price mark. And so to get this CT Toys version for £20, I mean, you can't really complain, but you get what you pay for. I mean, look at the head sculpts here. I don't think anyone's going to argue the CT Toys version is better than the Mafex. The blue paint definitely has a lot more finesse to it. I love the shading here. Side by side, this head sculpt is killing it. But again, the CT Toys isn't too far off, and dare I say, I'm kind of preferring the cape on the CT Toys version, but I believe this Mafex on the left is one of the original releases. It definitely feels like an older figure. I picked this up secondhand on eBay for a fantastic deal, and so I definitely don't think it's one of the more recent reissues. It's a great figure, but I just get the impression that it came out quite a few years ago, and with that, the cape feels a bit puffy, a bit baggy, a bit bigger, especially compared to the black Mafex Batman figure. I have the legitimate version of that as well, which we took a look at when we looked at the CT Toys black Batman figure, and I do think the cape on the black version is better than this blue one here, so this might be the original Mafex Batman, because I do believe the blue one came out first. I might be wrong on that though. Let me know down in the comment section if the black Mafex or the blue Mafex came out first, because this could be an original release, but I am just making that assumption based on the cape, which brings me back to the fact that I do quite like this feeling of the CT Toys cape straight out the box compared to this much older cape, and I don't think it is really anything against the Mafex overall, but more so the fact that this is probably quite a few years old now and being posed around a lot by myself and the previous owner. So that's something that I like on this new CT Toys figure, but again, they aren't really beating the original. It's more a case you get what you pay for, £100 versus £20. And this is a good £20 figure, a good £20 Batman figure, that's for sure, because as we'll see, when it comes to Batman figures for £20, you don't get much range of movement and articulation. You do kind of need to go for your import figures, or now CT Toys. Here is our blue suited Batman from CT Toys next to our black suited Batman from CT Toys, both of these originally being released by Mafex. And I think CT Toys have done a really good job with both of these. What one you pick up is just going to come down to preference. I do feel like these are pretty much the exact same in terms of quality. They come with the same interchangeable parts and accessories. Again, apart from that gargoyle base, which was included with the black suit, and you're getting that Bruce Wayne head sculpt with the blue suit. I would probably choose the Bruce Wayne head sculpt over the gargoyle base, but CT Toys did a really good job with that base, and it works for a lot of different figures, so I don't know. Both are really good options here. Let me know what one you prefer down in the comment section below. I think black and grey is kind of my mind's eye Batman. I always imagine him as being more black and grey in my mind, but the blue and grey isn't far from it either, so yeah, I don't know, either or would do for me. If you do have that black suited CT Toys Batman figure, then the Bruce Wayne head sculpt with the blue version will fit onto that black suit, which is cool. I did think it would, but wanted to double check. I think it looks really good here. I do think with the original Mafex figures, the shading of blue being better on that Bruce Wayne head sculpt stood out when you put it on the black suited version, and that doesn't seem to be as much of a problem here. You do still see that blue, but I think it works better with the black suited Batman here, but you don't get the same sort of quality in the face. To compare our CT Toys Batman to some other figures around the same price point, here is your Hush Batman from McFarlane Toys. Both of these are around £20. The McFarlane's probably, I don't know what it goes for second hand. I've seen some crazy prices on eBay for McFarlane Batman figures, but I think I probably paid around £25 for this at the time. This is costing you around £20 on AliExpress. And although I do love the look of this McFarlane Toys Batman, I think the sculpt's great. I personally prefer a much smaller scale. I say much smaller, but of course this CT Toys figure in Mafex is in your 6-inch scale. You can see that standing just over 6.5 inches. Your McFarlane figure is over 7 inches tall, and so I definitely prefer the more Marvel Legends size of figure, which of course this CT Toys is, and we can see that in a sec. But when it comes to articulation and range of movement, that is definitely something I'm interested in as well. And this McFarlane just isn't as good as the CT Toys. It does have points of articulation, but the range of movement really isn't as good as your Mafex / CT Toys here. And so if you gave me £20 and asked me what Batman figure I'd want to pick up, I would probably choose the CT Toys over the McFarlane here. Other Batman figures costing you around £20 could be the likes of your DC Icons Batman here on the left that we looked at here in the channel probably some point last year. I wasn't too impressed with it. Again, if you were to give me £20, I'm definitely choosing the CT Toys. And you've also got your DC Universe Classics Batman figures. There's loads of different variants of these. Again, we've looked at a few here on the channel, all in one big video. And if you're not familiar with DC Universe Classics, they're essentially the Toy Biz of DC characters. I love them. I think they're great figures. You can pick them up for pretty cheap over on eBay. Again, there's lots of different variants, lots of different DC characters, but most of them were on this sculpt. I think this is a great Batman, but similar to Toy Biz, it shows its age a wee bit. They're definitely not as well as articulated as Toy Biz figures either, but similar to Toy Biz, the sculpts just aren't really cutting it in 2025, but there's a lot of nostalgia here, a lot of nostalgia, and that's why I love these figures, and they don't look bad at all. But again, I'm gonna choose the CT Toys if it came to it. Here is our CT Toys Batman next to a couple of Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures. Again, I like this scale the most. I would say Marvel Legends is probably my main collection. They're the most accessible and affordable figures in this scale for these superheroes, and so I think it's a good starting point for any collector. And being able to pick up more and more figures that sort of fit in with that collection, I think is a plus, especially when you've got CT Toys here. Talking about being a collector starting off, you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money straight away. You don't know what brands are worth it. I would say Mafex is definitely worth it, and they do have an established name to them. But being able to pick up a Mafex style of figure for £20 and then it fitting into, again, a more accessible and affordable figure line, I think is a great option here. And another reason I want to compare it to these Marvel Legends is because when I'm taking pictures of these figures, I like to include other figures in the photos, and of course, Batman is out there fighting crime, stopping thugs. And a line like Marvel Legends includes these more sort of generic figures. This was part of a Hawkeye TV show line, but essentially is just a generic street thug. This is the Daredevil, or I should say Spider-Man No Way Home Matt Murdock figure, but I've got the alternative head from the street thug on it to create these sort of generic villains that you can use in your figure photos. And so again, I think it's great that this CT Toys Batman is able to scale with these sorts of figures. And so there we have it for our latest CT Toys knockoff action figure, ripping off the blue suited variant of the Mafex Batman. And again, this is another solid bootleg from CT Toys. It really doesn't get much better than this for £20 over on AliExpress. I'll leave the link in the description below. A lot of people ask where to pick these up from. There are now bootlegs of bootlegs, which is crazy. That's how kind of good these bootlegs are, that other companies are ripping these off. And those aren't a good experience. This definitely is a lot of fun. Definitely a figure that's worth the price point, and so I'll leave the description to the official CT Toys seller so you're not getting scammed or anything down in the description. Check that out if you're interested and want to pick this figure up. But again, I think this is worth the money. The cape is a lot of fun to maneuver around. That's something that I thought CT Toys would maybe struggle with, if anything, when they were knocking off these figures, and time again they were proving how well they were doing. I was thinking maybe the likes of a cloth cape with the bendy wire in it, that might be something a bootleg company would struggle with, or you would really see maybe some cracks in the seams. But they've nailed it time and time again now with the Gambit bootleg. Even though the figure itself I don't think was great, they really nailed the posable coat. Then with the black Mafex Batman, with that cloth cape, there really wasn't any complaints, and they've just kind of given us a, I was going to say a repaint, but maybe a re-dye. I should have just said repaint for this blue Batman here. And again, the cape's excellent. The rest of the figure is really good. I think they've captured the sculpt really well. The paint just isn't as good as a real Mafex, but again, you're getting what you pay for here. This is terrific for £20. One of the best Batman figures you can pick up for £20, and so I'm really happy with this. I really hope we get some more CT Toys Batman figures in the future. Of course, you get the Mafex Nightfall Batman now, which I love the look of, but having both black and blue Hush Batmans from Mafex, I don't really feel the need to spend all that money again for the Nightfall when it's not that different. I mean, there is big differences, but I just don't think it would be justified picking that up. So a CT Toys version would be fantastic. I really have my fingers crossed that we get a CT Toys Nightfall Batman. Let me know what you want to see from CT Toys next down in the comment section below. While you're down there, guys, if you could do me a massive favour and hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, then please hit that subscribe button, as well as the link to this figure. I'll also leave the link to my Instagram down in the description below, where I'll definitely be posting a lot of pictures of this Batman figure up over there. I love the Instagram stuff. It'd mean a lot if you could check it out. It means a lot that you've watched this video right here, guys, so thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.